Good morning. Okay, so we will continue today with. Okay, we'll continue today with the discussion of equalizing self and others. Yeah, the point of which is to really explore if we are more important than others. Okay, now I could have said that as the conclusion. The point is to know that we aren't, as that we're equally important, that we're not more important than others. Yeah, but if I said that as the conclusion, then everybody would go, yes, I'm not more important than others, and not think about it. But if I pose it as a question to investigate whether you are more important than others, then you have to think about it. Okay, and in this meditation, as in all meditations, thinking about something is really what is going to put it in your heart and make a change in your own mind. Just saying the words and saying the conclusion isn't going to change your mind because you still hold the same old views. It's like we all know, all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. You can say that in your sleep, can't you? Yeah? Does anybody understand what it means? Does it change how we relate to ourselves and others in the world? No, but we say it all the time. But we don't think about it. Yeah, so we have to really think about it, Do things inherently exist? They certainly look like they do, don't they? Yeah, when you think isn't there a feeling, yeah, I am here? What are you talking about? I'm here, and I am an independent person who makes my own decisions, who's in control of my life and want to control everybody else's life also. Yeah? Do we ever question that feeling of I? No. Who was it? I think Chankya said that when we negate inherent existence, it's like taking a hat off of somebody, but leaving, the rest of it there, So we don't really understand what the object to be negated is, but we, take it off by words, but we're not getting the point. Yeah, and. And it's very true. And so the same with this, am I more important than others? Well, what's your feeling inside yourself? Yeah, I mean, we're all with friends. We can be honest. Yeah, who do we think is more important? Me. Yeah. Not just that we think we are more important, we are more important, And the rest of the world should just realize that. Yeah, but we don't question it. Especially when we're in the middle of some kind of tangled up discussion about something. My viewpoint is right. Concrete versus Trex. What are we going to have? I want concrete. I want Trex. Who wants Trex? Who wants concrete? Why do you want concrete? Why do you want Trex? Oh, come on. Yeah. I mean, this is the current thing that's on the mind. Why, well, it's Saturday, so nothing's happening. But, why the guys left yesterday? Because we could, we all of a sudden, looked at the plans. And, we looked at the plans that we hadn't looked at before, although we've been looking at them for months and years now, and saw that the deck was called out to be concrete. And we all expected it to be Trex. How could Tim call it out for concrete? Yeah, well, I thought about it and I came up with a few good reasons, but the people talked with him. Yeah, there were some good reasons for it. And I wonder if they're the good reasons I came up with. Yeah, but you know, we all have our own views and we just latch into that. You know, who wants concrete? Who wants tracks? You know, let's have a symposium. You know, not just one vote. Let's have a whole conference on it. And then after that, we can talk about the ceiling in the library, because he also made it so that all the pipes and electrical work shows, because that's the latest modern thing that you have in buildings now, is all the pipes and stuff show in the ceiling. That's supposed to be the in thing, you know, so that's what he has in our library ceiling. Not in my library. Yeah. And then, you know, we latch on. This is my idea. And, you know, I have no idea. I can't think of a good one why he did that. In all that space, because they had. Yeah. So that gives them 2 feet to put all their pipes. No, we lower the ceiling to 10 feet. Yeah. Very easy. We lower it 10 feet. We need to have a symposium on that one too. And do you want your library ceiling to be 10 feet with no pipe showing, or 12 feet with pipes? Now, this is a crucial thing that is going to determine the moods and the feeling of the community in this abbey for time, you know, infinite. Because in your next life, you're going to be born here and go in that library and say, who put in the pipes? You know, so that they see. That may have been the in thing to do in 2022, but that was already 50 years ago, and nobody does it that way. You know, we got to redo the whole ceiling now. Yeah, so you see, that's what our future lives are going to be all hung up on. And what they're going to spend hours and days talking about is making the design for the library ceiling. But we could do that now and save our future lives the problem. Yeah? Of course, we'll get so involved in our ideas being right that we may not be born here to discuss, to enjoy the ceiling at all, you know? Unless by that time they let the cats in the library and lie and look at the ceiling all you want to. Okay. But you see how we just get completely fixated on me, you know, and what I think is correct and what I want is most important, and my pain and suffering everybody should know about, which I haven't told you about, and I've been talking for 7 minutes. You want to hear my latest pain and suffering? Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sure you really want to hear that. Quatch, quatch, quatch. Okay. So the point is coming up here, and this is what we have to look at, because it comes up all day long, every day. Yeah. And I've been thinking also of, this whole thing, not just I and, what I think is most important, but what that 2-letter word does to my mind. Yeah. My. Or expanding it to 4 letters, mine. Yeah. Think about it. How as soon as you put that word, you connect the meaning of that word with some object, your whole way of relating to that object changes. Yeah, totally. It's one 2-letter word, but it changes the world. My. Yeah, this is mine. Don't you touch it. Don't you criticize it. Don't you badmouth it. Don't you be unpatriotic towards it. This is mine. And we're going to fight about what is mine because you think what is mine is yours and you're wrong. Yeah? So let's have a war. Wars are good for the economy. Yeah, they're very good. They rev up production. You know, they're making ammunition in Ohio like crazy now. You know, very profitable for Ohio to have a war. No, Iowa, not Ohio, Iowa. Yeah. So they stopped killing pigs and now they're making ammo. You know, but just my, you know. Yeah, some people saying this is my land, other people saying no, it's my land. Yeah. And then killing each other about it. Isn't that one of the most stupid things you can think of doing? Yeah. I think I cannot understand that. And yet, what do we do whenever we're frustrated with something? When we think it's ours and other people think it's theirs, yeah, we get really mad. Yeah, we may not bomb them, but some people take out their own ammo and do a job. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. And we think, well, that's other people who do that. But, you know, we have the same self-centered thought that they do. There's nothing to be proud here, you know, as long as you have that self-centered thought, who knows what crazy thing we'll do. So, yeah, I've been talking a lot about using the word stupid a lot, you know, how we do stupid things. And it sounds rather, you know, oh, how can you call all these sentient beings who have Buddha nature, how can you say that they do stupid things? Yeah, well, they do stupid things. I do stupid things. I've done enough stupid things. Yeah, and I continue to do more, even though I've done more than enough. Yeah. So I think we have to be willing to admit that. Yeah, do you do stupid things? Yeah. Yeah. And I look at the things I've done stupid things about, and I've been very lucky because I could have gotten in a whole lot of trouble. Yeah, doing stupid things. Yeah. We could, that would make a good skit thing, acting out the stupid things we've done. Okay, I won't go off on that one. Yeah, but I have a few good stories. Okay, so let's come back and, you know, instead of thinking about ourselves, let's think about the three jewels and think of their qualities and that they have had these same difficulties we have and done stupid things too before they became awakened. And yet they practiced the path and overcame all of that, so we can too. Yeah, so let's not stay stuck in, oh, I do so many stupid things, I'm so hopeless, because that's just more me, I, my, and mine stuff. How many of you think you're the worst one here? Some hands didn't go up. What, you think you're better than the rest of us? No, but it's the same mind, isn't it? I'm the worst. I botch up everything, and I'm the best. I do everything perfectly. It's the same thing. So as Helena said, if you want to be selfish, be wisely selfish and take care of others. So think about what that means and how you can put it into practice in your life. And in that way, generate bodhicitta. Okay, so think about what my means. Yeah, and we might say, well, it means for something to belong to someone. What does belong mean? What does it mean that something belongs to me? Who is the me it belongs to? And what does belong mean? Belong mean just that I put my name on it? What does it mean for something to be mine? It's really interesting, Just think about, because we use these words and these concepts all the time. Yeah, this is my bowl. What does it mean that that bowl is mine? Yeah. Does it give me some special power over that bowl? And how do I know it's mine? Is that because there's a name on it? What happened? If that's what makes it mine, then if we take that sticker off, then it's no longer mine. Why does a sticker matter? Can I keep the sticker on and still say it doesn't belong to me, give it away? What am I giving up when something no longer belongs to me? We never think about this, do we? What does it mean? And from the time we were little kids, these are my marbles. Yeah. Or this is my stuffed animal. This is my bottle, whatever it is. Yeah. I think it's around the terrible twos, I think is around the time when kids learn two important words. One is no, and the other one is my. Yeah, boy, at age 2, we're already, set up for having a lot of problems. No, mine. Okay, but yeah, what does it mean? Yeah, as a kid, we have some idea. If this is mine and it isn't my brother's, then what? What does that mean? Yeah, that means I can move it from here to here without anybody getting upset. Well, mom or dad may get upset when I move it from here to here because they don't like where it's going. So, yeah, so what does it mean? Because we always hold on to what is mine, don't we? Yeah, mine. I don't want to pay taxes. This money is mine, aside from the fact that other people gave it to me and that I was born broke. And for years and years and years, I had no money. And then somebody started giving me money. So now it's my money. It's not their money. Now it's not just that they gave it to me, they owe it to me. And then we proliferate, many, many ideas, don't we? What is fair, what is not fair, how we're going to protest things that are not fair. The unfairness is always about people being unfair to us. Yeah, and the people on our side. We don't think of it when we're being unfair to other people. Because we would never be unfair. We're good Buddhists. Okay. Now, so next time you have a discussion with somebody over, is this yours or is this mine? And not just talking about objects, but talking about chores. Oh, yeah? Is this my chore or is this your chore? Yeah. Well, if it's chores, then it's yours. Yeah. If it's extra food, it's mine. Okay. This isn't my chore. Look, your name is on the chore list under this, not my name. Well, that was last week's chore list. Well, just because somebody else didn't change it doesn't mean I should do your chore. You should know that you're on the chore list this week. Yeah. But look, again, how I am more important than others, and what is mine and what is others, how all of this comes in on, on top of a poor vacuum cleaner. Yeah. The vacuum cleaner is just trying to do its work, and we put all this stuff on it. No wonder it can't move. Okay, so let's go back to the 9 points. So we talked last time about the first 3 points that have to do with conventional reality, that everybody wants happiness, doesn't want unhappiness. Okay. Yeah, that one we already have a problem with, don't we? Yes, everybody wants happiness, but still my happiness is more important. Yeah. They want happiness, but they don't deserve it. You have to earn your happiness around here. How do you do that? By vacuuming floors. Not by studying the Dharma. People around here don't praise you if you study the Dharma. They praise you if you do your chores on time. True or not true? Do we have something mixed up in terms of what we're praising? Yeah. Somebody who wants to study, yeah, like Shantideva. Oh, that lazy bum is just lying in his room all time, eating, sleeping, going to the toilet. Shantideva has no good qualities. Yeah. But give him a vacuum cleaner, and he has the opportunity of a lifetime to make a name for himself. Yeah. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. Okay. On the whiteboard, it's always do your chores today. It's never, make sure you review your notes today. Yeah, please meditate on the teaching you heard last night today. That's not written on the board. What is the most important thing? Doing your chores. Second most important thing is having a rota for chores. It completely takes out the fun of everybody coming together and making something happen because they care about it. Instead, who is on the chore list? Okay, well, today it's Monday. Okay, so I got to set up the water bowls in here. But Tuesday I have to set them up in Ananda, and Wednesday I have to take them down in the Kuan Yin room, and Thursday, what do I do Thursday? I'm supposed to set up these, tables and things for Geshe Tapke, and then I'm so exhausted I go to my room and rest while he teaches. Okay. So everybody wants happiness and to avoid suffering equally. Yeah. And this thing of deserving happiness. Yeah. This comes up. I was writing to one guy who was imprisoned in California, and he had some liver disease that was going to be, it was not good. He was throwing up blood and everything, remember? And he needed a liver transplant, but he was an inmate. And lots of people thought inmates should be at the bottom of the list for liver transplants. Their lives are not worth very much. Yeah. So give a good liver to somebody who is rich and famous, yeah, and covers up all their boo-boos. And, somebody who's imprisoned because this guy had grown up. Just when you read about how he had grown up, there's, the school to prison pipeline, it's right there. So, but his life isn't worth as much. So our second and third points in this first one is if there's 10 beggars, to help some of them and not others. Why do we consider some people more important than others? If there's 10 patients, why do we treat some but not others? And we can think of all sorts of reasons for this. This person is more likely to survive, so, the triage should go to them first rather than somebody who's, barely breathing. So, that on a practical level, that's true, but that shouldn't make us think inside of our hearts that somebody else's life is less valuable. We may choose to help one over another because the possibility of the help coming out good might be better, but we should value everybody's life equally. And sometimes, the person whose life we should value is the person who's made a lot of mistakes but is changing. And to give them another chance. Some of you, Tracy, our friend Tracy, her brother, has an incredible story about this. Some of you have read about it. He was a cop, and he got shot. And so, of course, somebody who shoots a cop, they instantly want to put that person to death. That's like, you can shoot other people, but don't you shoot a cop. So, but what happened is he wound up going on visiting days and getting to know the guy who shot him and getting to know him as a person and seeing his regret, seeing his potential. And so Tom and his wife, I think, put him through school so he could go to college. And it's an amazing story. And Tom's brother, just wrote an article about guns, and saying we should get rid of the Second Amendment. This is a cop saying that. And he says in the article, I've been on both sides of shooting somebody and being shot at. And this is my conclusion from it all. It's really moving. Okay, but he was somebody who could see the potential in people who most of society, they just throw away. You just read some of Al's memoirs. One of the guys we're writing to. This guy is an incredible writer. Incredible writer. And he makes these little vignette stories that leave you like, whoa. And yet, he didn't have much education. He killed his mother and his stepfather. So even in Buddhism, this is like the worst thing you can do. And yet, he's somebody who's an incredibly good practitioner. And who, in the prison where he lives, soothes a lot of potential arguments and so on. Okay, so what I'm getting at is we have to look beyond the superficial. And yes, there are practical reasons for many things, but there are also, what does practical mean? Here's another one. What does practical mean? It's more practical to give some guy who just did a Ponzi scheme that cheated people out of millions of dollars. They get the liver transport. They get a new liver. But the guy who came from a poor family who's trying to get food for their younger siblings who held up a grocery store, no, they don't get a liver transplant. They get put in jail for as long as you can. Okay? So to start questioning things that we've always taken for granted. Yeah? And now some people may say, oh, but you're questioning things that the Buddha, they aren't in Buddhism. Why do you have to realize that in order to become a Buddha? But in my mind, it's like everything pertains to the Dharma. Yeah? And if you can't make the Dharma, use the Dharma to look at everything in your life, then what are we doing? Yeah? I mean, for example, a few years ago, the Zen people in America, they learned that several of their roshis, who they valued so much, who they saw as enlightened beings, had been on the side of the Japanese Imperial Army during World War II and favored what the Japanese did, which was basically occupy most of the countries down the coast of China into parts of Indochina. And brutal. The occupation was totally brutal, horrible. I talked to some people in Singapore who had been in Malaysia when it was occupied by the Japanese. And yet the Roshis favored this kind of expansionism by their own government. So then the Zen people in America are going, were they really enlightened beings if you favor that kind of thing? Or did they do it just because that was expected of them? What is going on here? And the question really came up, to what extent do you apply the Dharma to things that are happening in society? Or do you just say, well, it's wartime, so, what the Buddha said doesn't really count? I mean, just you talk in terms of the theistic religions. First Amendment, do not kill. Well, but that doesn't count in wartime. And that doesn't count when somebody else took our stuff. And that doesn't apply when, da. Okay. So to what degree do we use the Dharma in our lives and make decisions according to them? Okay. And a further question, does that mean, and because some people are using their religion to make political decisions, but their religion has different beliefs than our religion, and our religion has different beliefs than theirs. So you may do something for a religious reason, but does that give you the right to put your religion's values on other people? Okay, this is what the abortion debate is about. This is what the LGBTQ plus debate is about. This is what the trans kids is about. This is what children read. Yeah, there's this whole big thing now about banning books. We're like the Soviet Union now. Free speech, you can say anything you want if you're a congressperson, but your kids cannot read, or your kids can read books about, Congress people swearing at each other, but they can't read books about LGBTQ kids playing ball together. I don't know, but this is, again, something to think about. What do we question? And what do, when we really take the Buddha's teachings and go deeply, what does that mean? And does that mean that a lot of our societal norms don't apply? Or at least for us as Buddhists living in society, we're going to live according to what the Buddha said, not according to what, we won't break the law, but that's other people's religion is not going to, be put on our heads, but we will live according to what we believe. Is that making some sense to you? Yeah. It's like religious freedom. Everybody can live according to their beliefs. But on the other hand, you need certain things that are common that everybody agrees on. Okay. But you can have a law that everybody agrees on, but that doesn't mean everybody's going to uphold it. Yeah. And there's different ways to get around that, but that's not my business. Okay. So I think a lot of these things are things we should not only think about, but talk about with each other. Yeah, because they do come back to, who's more important? Who's more important? And what are standards that I live by? Okay. And when we talk about, yes, I want free speech, well, does free speech, how far does that go for other people? Because a lot of people are stretching a lot of things now into places that they didn't go. I'll just go off on this for a minute, but I was reading about what's happening in the courts, and especially the Supreme Court, is this whole thing of originalism. And so you look at how what something in the Constitution meant to people in 1776 or whatever year it was adopted. Okay, so in terms of gun laws, they had muskets and people having muskets. And I mean, it was a whole different atmosphere about guns and the use of guns, which still I don't want to have anything to do with. But it's certainly not the way it's being interpreted today. And today it's being interpreted, well, they had muskets in 1776, and you could go out in public walking around with your musket. Nobody said boo, and it wasn't a danger to anybody. So you can carry your AK-47 or 45 along the streets. Now you don't need a license. And you know what? They are now making AR-15s for children. Miniature AR-15s for kids, so that parents who want their kids to grow up defending the Second Amendment can start teaching their children when they're 5 and 6 years old how to handle a military weapon. Okay, how did I get off on that? Okay, but what I'm talking about here is, how far do things extend? And to think for ourselves, okay, society may say something is okay, but what about me? Do I think that's okay? Yeah. Society says thou shalt not jaywalk. Okay. I don't believe that. I jaywalk. Yeah, much to her horror. Yeah, every time she's with me, she's, you're going to run down. And you too. It's like, yeah. But, what's wrong with jaywalking? Nothing's wrong with jaywalking. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not jaywalk. I don't jaywalk on I-5. You know, give me a break. You know, yeah, yeah. You don't jaywalk, do you? No, oh, I'll teach you how. It's not hard. You just wait because the stoplight's up there. When the stoplight's up there goes, then the cars, there's no cars, then you just cross then. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it's okay. You can get across all four many times without getting hit. I've done it. Living proof. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You're Pete Buttigieg, who's our Department of Transportation. The highest increase in deaths this year is pedestrian crosswalking. So I want you to know that things are starting.
What did you say?
There's a big discussion going on right now. The part of the infrastructure bill is going to try to get cities to enhance where people need to walk, because people are getting nailed trying to do things that they think they can do. And they're even getting nailed in the crosswalks. Pedestrians getting killed and bicyclists in towns right now has gone through the ceiling in the past year or two. Just to let you know that's part of the facts.
But isn't the fault of, it should be drivers who give way to pedestrians. Yeah. They're testing what? Texting. Oh. We're getting controlled by technology, aren't we? And we are totally addicted to it. We're texting, I am on the way. Then you look at the road for another thing. I'm going to turn right next. I'll be there in half an hour. I'll be there in 22 minutes. Yeah. What do you text about? Do we really need to spend our lives texting so much? Oh, sorry, I'm just staring at some people. Maybe it applies to them. Oh, you thought I wasn't looking long enough at you either? But she's further along on her 100,000 texts than you are. Yes, this was a topic of great discussion on our trip. Give me the phone. No! Okay. So, yeah, point is, keep checking and see how I and mine and me and all of that all inevitably comes in. Yeah, to what we think. I jaywalk, so jaywalk is fine. Yeah? I don't know why you people are so conservative. What, you think we're back in 1776? Yeah, where they don't have cars? Yeah. So back in 1776, you look this way to see if there was, a cart drawn by a horse or an oxen coming, and then you look this way. Yeah. And then you decided not to cross because they were so far away. Okay, so then the second set of three is three reasons from, the first set was the three reasons from the point of others, but looking conventionally. The second set is three reasons from our own viewpoint, okay, also conventionally. So the first one here is that all sentient beings have been kind to us in the past, and they're being kind to us in the present, and they will be kind to us in the future. So, seeing that all these beings have been kind to us, not just in this life, but in previous lives, and they will be fine in future lives, then it doesn't make any sense to favor some and not favor others, or to hold grudges against some and not others, because basically they've all been kind to us and have been and are and will be kind to us. Okay. Now, some people might say, that car that didn't slow down for a pedestrian, he's not being kind. Or that pedestrian who jaywalked, they're not being kind. Yeah. So how can you say all sentient beings have been kind? Those two have not been kind. Well, maybe one's been kind because I agree with them. But the other one I disagree with hasn't been kind. Yeah. And so some people have been kind. They deserve more help. Other people haven't been as kind, so they don't deserve any help. And in fact, they could use a little bit of their own medicine and taste their own medicine. Yeah. They could stand in my shoes for a while and see what they've done to me that's destroyed my life. Who said these guys have been kind? Yeah, there's people, the way their mind works is, because of things that have happened to them or because of their attitudes brought from previous lives or things they've experienced in this life. The first thing is, in a new situation is, where is their danger? Yeah. And other people approach a new situation with, how interesting. New ideas, new people. Yeah. And other people approach the new situation with, are they going to like me? Am I going to fit in? Yeah. But how often do we actually train our mind when we go in situations so that our thought is, they've been kind to me? Yeah. In the morning and in the evening, at the beginning and end of meditation, when you bow to each other, what's the meaning of doing that? It's not just exercise. Yeah. It's saying, you've been kind to me and I acknowledge that. You're valuable and I acknowledge that. So when you don't want to look at people, you kind of bend over appropriately and you kind of look like you're looking at people, but actually you don't want to make eye contact with anybody. Then why not? These are all the people who've been kind to you. Don't you want to look at them and acknowledge what they've done, acknowledge their potential as human beings? It's just small things to look at somebody, but boy, I'm not going to even look at that guy. I'm not looking at you. I hate your guts, but I'm not looking at you. Okay. But to really train the mind, whenever you see somebody, they've been kind to me. They say, I think it was Lama Atisha, he kind of called everybody Amala, meant Lama Atisha spoke Tibetan. I wonder, how do you say mama in Sanskrit, in Hindi? Anyway, he, he would call, because, he was going around on donkeys and yaks and everything, he would call them all mama, Amala. Think about it. They've been your mother and now they're carrying all your stuff on their back. They've been kind. And look at the shape that they're in. having to be a beast of burden. Huh? Yeah, so to actively train the mind, because we always are going into new situations, and to see, oh, there's somebody who's kind. Okay, because it's true. We say, well, it's only true if you think of past and future lives, but I don't really believe in them, except that I'm going to have a good future life. You know, but otherwise I don't believe in them. Or, yes, I believe in them, but they haven't been that kind to me in a past life. They were also mosquitoes, you know. So why should I respect them this life? Because they drank my blood in previous lives. They haven't been kind. Okay. Well, that brings us to the second point in these 3 points, which is our saying, but they haven't been kind. Yeah. They've been mean to me more times than they've been kind to me. Yeah. Why? Because I have a very refined computer system. Well, no, it's not a computer system. It's a memory in my brain, in my mind, wherever it is, that remembers every single thing people did to me that they made me unhappy. And I never forget those. Yeah. Do you remember in first grade somebody hitting you? Yeah. I remember in first grade our neighbors used to throw stones over the fence to try and hit us. Yeah. Then second grade? Yeah. It was the teacher who wouldn't let me be in the class play. Yeah. Who was it? Third grade. Anyway, I'm sure if I thought long enough, we can find an enemy all throughout our lives. Somebody who doesn't do what we say, doesn't do. In high school, then it becomes our parents. They won't let me do that. They won't let me do this. Although nowadays, I don't think kids complain about that because parents don't, their kids are running wild most of the time anyway. Yeah. Yeah. But we always come up, yeah, they've been kind. I should train my mind like that. But they've also been really mean, so why should I be kind to them? Yeah. If they've been mean to me, I should hold a grudge. That's the only right thing to do. Anybody in their right mind who got treated in this way by that person, whose trust was betrayed in this way, the only way they can possibly feel is anger at being treated this way. That's how every rational, reasonable person would feel. Why should I see them as kind just because maybe in a past life they gave me a tamale? If I'm going to think somebody's kind, they better really be kind. And they should not do what this person did. Yeah. This person talked bad about me behind my back to a whole group of friends. And I got ostracized. Yeah. Okay. I was the last one. When they took turns picking people to be on the softball team, I was the last one. Nobody wanted me on their softball team. Yeah. Oh, you feel sorry for me. I can tell it in your face. Really? really, I mean, when you're in 5th grade, this is devastating. Yeah. So then, Shantideva, okay. Well, we had the first one, everybody's been kind to us. Yes, train your mind in that, okay. The second one, where our mind fights back. Well, they've actually been mean to me too. Why should I see them as kind? Yeah. And what the sages say is, well, if you compare the amount of kindness they've shown towards you in past, present lives, and will show in future lives, with the amount of harm they've given you, if you compare that, you've received much more benefit from other living beings than you have harm. Yeah. But this is what's interesting about the way our very obscured mind thinks, is we remember the harm and the goodness we forget about, because the goodness is often just what happens every day, so it becomes what we expect, so we don't notice it. We only notice the harm because it doesn't happen very frequently, and and it wasn't expected. Yeah. But so you go for breakfast every morning. How often do you think about, wow, somebody cooked this food, somebody transported this food, somebody grew the crops that, of this oatmeal or whatever you're eating. Okay? No, we think, oh, they planted the crops, but then they sprayed it with some kind of horrible stuff. Yeah, they're trying to kill us. They don't care about humanity. They're just spraying it with all this other stuff. But they're also kind because if we didn't have the stuff that was sprayed, we wouldn't have anything. Yeah, so you kind of have to cut some slack in some way. The spraying isn't good, but why are we going to see those people as enemies? As they're trying to kill me. No, they're just doing their jobs, and they're not thinking about it because they don't have the mental space to think about it. Okay, but to really watch how our mind says, yes, they've been kind, but yes, this person has been kind, but they also did this. And so how much kindness they show doesn't matter, because what's most important is the harm they gave me. Even though compared to the benefit they gave me, the harm was so small. Yeah. And we imprison ourselves by holding grudges like this. We hold grudges from things people have done years and years and years ago that they've probably forgotten about, but we've inscribed in our mind and maybe elaborated a little bit when we tell the story, to really emphasize how unfair it was and how much we suffered. Okay. But who's in jail when we hold grudges? Who suffers? Yeah. Not the other person, it's us. It's us. You spend your whole life making sure you don't look at somebody. And often that somebody is a relative, because this is where some of the deepest grudges are. You didn't invite me to, your granddaughter's ex-boyfriend's new sister-in-law's brother's wedding. You didn't invite me. Oh, I'm not speaking to you again. Okay? Yeah, well, we hold things like that. We really do. And then we expect them again. Next time we meet that person, yeah, we expect them to do the same thing. So we just never speak to them again. We never go any place where they are. We totally ignore them. Yeah. Or we seek revenge. Yeah. The sweet taste of revenge. Yeah. Sweet taste. Really? Harming somebody is a sweet taste? What does that do to us as a human being? Yeah. Okay. So giving up the grudges. And it's very interesting, yeah, because as you start to look back, you'll see some people that you have grudges against. Yeah. Okay, I got to work on those. Then you start seeing people who, what they did isn't really terrible, but you don't trust them. Yeah. And why don't you trust them? Because the last interaction you had with them, they did something that you don't like. Yeah. So if you do something I don't like eat all the rest of the broccoli when you know that I'm still haven't come through to get more broccoli. You know, if you do something I like, and that's my last interaction with you, that's what I remember. You're a broccoli monger. No consideration for anybody else, i.e. me. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting to see how we hold grudges and what that means, and how, yeah, I was thinking about it, and you know, one of the great stories I tell about how I had a book in process to be published, and then this group of people who were very important people, who were famous, were very selfish, and they did their own thing and kept the book from getting published. Yeah. And this happened, I was thinking about it this morning. This, this happened in 1996. So that's what, like, almost 30 years? Yeah, 27 years. Yeah, thinking about what these people did, and especially one of them, who actually called to apologize, but I didn't believe his apology at all, so I didn't pick up the phone. I just let it go on the voicemail, and then I deleted it. You know. So him, I haven't seen him in I don't know how many years. Yeah. But that's okay with me. Yeah. He's famous. I'm not. He harmed me. That's okay. I'm taking on the suffering of myself. Okay? This guy, ugh. But when I stop and think, he's done so many good things in his life. Really, many, many good things in his life. Helped many, many people. Yeah. It's just my jealousy. Yeah. And the fact that he kept my book from getting published. But actually, it turned out it was good it didn't get published. And that's a whole other story, which I'm not going to tell you now. Yeah. But it was good. It didn't get published. You don't know what's a hindrance and what's a blessing. That was actually something good. So, in my eyes, so that means it's inherently good. In their eyes, it wasn't good because they wanted their parts in it. And I didn't put their parts. I abbreviated their parts. They wanted their parts fully in it, showing how great they are. Greater than me. It was just the editor. Okay. So you look, and you know, your mind is doing some kind of like whacked out trip. Like, who in the universe cares about this? You know? Yeah, even I told you the story. Do any of you care about it? Are any of you bummed out? Yeah? Yeah? Any of you want to retaliate against these people? Yeah, you want to help? Yeah. Well, wait until I tell you, and you may not. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you do. I don't know. Okay. But it's very interesting to look back and, you know, which people I don't like and why don't I like them. Because being an enemy and not liking somebody is a little bit different, you know. So I don't like them. But why don't I like them? Because they did this, or they said this, or they thought this. And whatever it was something I didn't like. So that's the criteria. Yeah. Why is somebody an unnice person? Because they did something I don't like. So you all better be very careful and walk on eggshells and make sure you do everything I like. Otherwise, I'm going to put you in that basket and keep you there for 27 years. Okay. Or maybe longer than 27 years. Okay. So the third point in that, you know, so we had everybody's been kind. And, well, they've also harmed me, but that's not really something that should let you interfere with seeing their kindness, because the kindness has been so much greater than the harm. Okay, and that was the second one. The third one was, even if they've been mean to you, we're all going to die. So what use is it holding a grudge? Yeah. In looking at the fact that you're going to die and they're going to die, and for sure in 100 years, probably less, none of us are going to be here, then who cares what they did that I didn't like? Yeah. If you guys don't care now about it, you're certainly not going to, you know, care in another 27 years when you're dying. And but I'll care about it, you know, another 27. And then I'll think, oh, yeah, these people did that to me. And then the people at the Abbey, they didn't even stay on my side. They stayed on his side. No, but you think about it. If we're all going to die, what use is it holding a grudge against somebody? What benefit does it have? And our confused mind says, it protects me. Because this is somebody, you know, who harmed me. Harm means do something I don't like. Check that up. If every time somebody does something you don't like, it harms you. Check up if that's true or not. I don't think so. But anyway, our confused mind said, yeah, they did something I don't like, so it harmed me. So I deserve to get revenge. I deserve to hold a grudge. Yeah. So I deserve to make myself miserable by holding a grudge. That's my right. If I want to make myself miserable, I'll do it. Yeah. And we do. Okay. And so here it's saying, well, for what purpose? Why are you holding on to that and making yourself miserable? Especially since we're all going to die. And at the time of death, you don't want to be thinking about this. And you don't want the other person to be thinking about it. So why are we wasting our time making a big deal about it now? And engraving it in our mind so that we never forget what was done to us. Yeah. And just saying that, for what purpose? What am I trying to prove? Nothing. What is it I really want? This is a time to have a really good conversation with yourself, you know, the grudge holding you and the wisdom you, you know. What are you trying to get out of it? Well, it makes me feel like I'm important. Okay, makes you feel that you're important. How? Why is being important important? Yeah, what do you get out of being important? Well, they harm me, and I felt lousy about it, and I don't want to just be ignored and be invisible. I want the world to acknowledge that I was harmed, you know. And my second grade teacher harmed me, you know, by not letting me be in the class play. Even though she taught me so many wonderful other things and I thought she was a wonderful teacher, that one action. How old was I in second grade? Second grade, what are you? You're 7. Okay, so I don't want to even tell you how many years ago. Yeah? So why am I holding on to it? Why? You know? Or things that happen with your siblings. I have a real good one with my brother, too. Oh, my brother. Rumble, rumble, rumble. And this one wasn't 27 years ago. Yeah, this one was closer. Yeah. So, for what purpose? For what purpose? Well, he wasn't very nice to me. Congratulations. No, this is the way you talk to yourself. Thoughts. Congratulations, somebody wasn't nice to you. So what? Do you ever say that to yourself? No, we never say so what. We always say, so what? Because da 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 da. It's important. But really, if I'm the only one on this planet, and that's only counting the human beings on this planet, which now of which there are 8 million, not 7 million. Billion. Yeah, I meant that. I said billion. I just made it rhyme with million. Are you criticizing me? Okay. So, you know, if we're the only person that has this recorded in our memory, you know, maybe that's why you invented God, because you couldn't remember all of this. And so God's supposed to remember all the harms that have been done to you and then punish that person. My goodness. Give our dirty work to God. Really, isn't it? You know, you harmed me, you committed a sin, God's going to punish you. Okay. So, do we ever, when our mind's holding on to something, do we ever say, so what? So what? Why am I holding on to that? And then you listen to your mind tell you the story about why you're holding on to it. And then you realize that you've heard that story before, that you've recited it to yourself almost every day since the thing happened. Yeah. And if somebody else told you their sob story every day, after 2 days you would be bored. Why are we so enchanted with our own sob story? I just need somebody to recognize my pain. Well, yes, that would be nice. I would feel understood. But there's no law in the universe saying that everybody has to recognize my pain. So why am I holding on to this so much? I'm recognizing my own pain. Isn't that sufficient? Why am I holding on to this pain and making myself recognize it over and over and over again? Yeah. And you wonder, as you go through life, when you see people who have made decisions and then not like the results, and then hold on to that, for their whole life. Yeah. And, they're bitter, they become bitter, We got married and they were so wonderful and they loved me and they were so kind, and then they went and cheated on me. And you hold on to that your whole rest of your life. Yeah. And then you become old and you become bitter because you think you can't trust anybody, and you think anytime you have happiness, it's going to be taken away. So you just, stay away and you sit and sulk and feel sorry for yourself. Do you know people like that? Yeah, I know people like that. And it's created by the mind. For what purpose? I exist because I feel miserable. It kind of, in some ways, comes down to that. We will do anything to try and support this hallucination that there's a real me that is important. That is, when you really look, that is what we're holding on to. The whole thing revolves around me. So I have to be real and I have to be important. And I am quite miserable in the process of it. Yeah. And somebody, you come to a Buddhist teaching and somebody talks about forgiveness, and forgiveness doesn't mean what the other person does. It just means you're going to stop being angry about it. You hear that and you go, you don't understand me. You can't even hear it. Okay, so this is our human dilemma. So this is why all these kind sentient beings are stuck in the same human dilemma we're stuck in. It's not just human, it's sentient being dilemma. Okay, and why to have compassion for them? Because, when we look at how nonsensical, giving into our afflictions, what it does, to the rest of our life and next life, what we will be reborn in, and our ability to progress on the path. You know, when we really look at how we, we shoot ourselves in the foot all the time. The afflictions shoot ourselves in the foot. Yeah. So here, when it's, you know, this is why it is important to train the mind, and sentient beings have been kind. Yeah. And everybody wants happiness and not suffer. And, you know, we begin to see how what we're hearing in the teachings is the opposite to what our afflictions say, and why it's so important to familiarize our mind with these again and again and again, rather than with the afflictions and the self-centeredness. Okay, and then next week we'll go through the last three, are about on the ultimate sense. You know, why we should investigate if we are more important than others. You know, three reasons on the ultimate sense that should hold true if we are more important than others. Yeah, but if these reasons don't hold true, it means we're not more important than others. And as we practice retraining our minds to be in touch with ourselves and see how when we give up the grudges and we give up the I'm not going to talk to them thing, how much relief we feel. Yeah, to be aware of that when we put down the anger, the amount of relief we feel. Yeah, and then to spend a little bit of time imagining not holding those grudges. Yeah. So you might say, well, to imagine that, then I have to imagine that person not doing those horrible things to me. Well, that might be a starter, you know, imagining that you never experienced those things. But get in touch also after you go on for a while. Get in touch with your inner strength. And it's like, yeah, okay, what that other person did wasn't right, but it's not happening now, and I don't want to hook the happiness of the rest of my life to that small thing, and put it down. And you feel so much lighter. Yeah, you really feel like you fly.